everybody. Welcome to Storytime Craft Club. Today we talked about apples. So we're going to do a couple really fun apple crafts that you can do. If you've picked up your kit at the library, you have got a plate with some holes in it. You've got a leaf. You have a little stem. You've got a little worm. And you have got a piece of yarn. Now, if you didn't pick up your kit, you can make all these at home. So this is really going to be kind of easy. It's not going to be a hard craft. What we're going to do first is, you're going to need some glue. We're going to glue our little leaf to our little stem. Because, you know, apples usually have stems and maybe a leaf now and then on them. So we're going to put a little bit of glue either on our stem or on the apple, whichever you want to do, whichever's easiest for you. And we're going to glue our leaf right on our stem. Just like that. See there? Then we're going to glue the whole stem right on the back of our plate. Just so you can see that little leaf peeking out and the little stem peeking out. Because this is an apple. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of our plate. Oh, and by the way, hi Trina, how are you? All right. Put a little bit of glue. Hi Remy. Everett, is that apple you're eating good? I hope so. I'm going to have an apple later as well. All right, so we've glued our stem and our leaf on the back of our apple. What do you think these holes are going to be for? You think they're for looking through? They could be. We're going to do something else with them now. Now we're going to take our yarn, and if you'll pick up your worm, you'll see that he's got a little hole in his butt. Look at that. Look at the little hole. We're going to put the yarn right through that little hole, and we're going to tie it really tight. You might want to have your grown-up help you with this, because sometimes it's hard to get these little things tied. I'm going to tie it in a knot because I don't want it to come out. Well, I might tie it in a knot. See how hard it can be? Even Miss Julie has trouble sometimes. There we go. That's a funny looking knot, but it's on there. It's not going to go anywhere. Now, you probably have, you should have, a little hole, a tiny little hole in the edge of your plate. Miss Julie doesn't have a tiny hole in the edge of this one, so I'm going to stick this right through here. But you have a tiny hole. You're going to stick this. Hi, Tucker. How are you? You're going to stick this right through that tiny hole, and you're going to tie another knot on it. We don't want it to go anywhere either. So I'm going to tie, since I don't have the tiny hole there, I'm going to just tie this right here. Hi, Van. Hi, Daisy. I hope you're enjoying the craft. So once you get your yarn tied in the little hole and tied to the end of your worm, you know what you can do now? Worms like to go in and out of apples, and they make these little holes with their teeth. So we're going to use the little holes to do a sewing craft. We're going to take him in, we're going to take him out, so that he goes all the way through the apple. Now, if you want to do this craft again with a different plate, you could get a white plate and just color red around the outside, and you might want to leave the inside white because apples inside are white. But you could just color the outside red, or you could paint it red if you have paints, or if you have red plates, you could just make another one like this. So that is our apple sewing craft. Now there's one other craft that I just kind of wanted to show you. Today we did the star in the apple story, and when I cut open the apple, there was the star. Do you know you can paint with these apples? That's what I'm going to show you how to do next. We don't have supplies for this, but you can do this at home. All you need is a piece of paper. You need some paints, any kind of paint you want. You need an apple, and you might want a crayon or a brush if you want to paint. So all you need to do is get a paper plate to put your paints on, and I'm going to squirt some red paint out on this plate, just like that. Then I'm going to take this apple that I cut with this pretty star inside. And I'm going to dab this paint all over this apple. I'm going to get a lot of paint on this apple. All right, see there? Now what might happen when you have an apple like that? Since it's not cut completely straight, you might not be able to get the paint. Just take your brush and paint where you see the white. If you see any white, just take your brush and paint. Then all you have to do is go to your paper and push your apple down on the paper. And I'm hoping this star shows up. If it doesn't, I might have to lift up my paper. Okay, that's how my first one went. Now I'm going to take my apple and I'm going to hold it with the back of my hand and just push the paper into the apple. Look at that. There's my star. So it doesn't matter if your apple is straight across or not. If you want to have your grown-up cut it so it'll be a little bit straighter, you could do that. But I'm a grown-up and I didn't cut it real straight either. So you can stamp that all over your paper and make a really pretty pattern. Now I've cut this apple this way. It's just a little bit different. So I'm going to try making a stamp this way. You don't want to do this with all your apples because, you know, your grown-up might get a little bit mad. But they'll give you 1 or 2 apples to play with, which is really nice. Now I don't have the paint all over that, and I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to stamp it down really hard. You got to push really hard. And then lift it up. Look there. Now if you want to make them look like a real apple, you could take some green paint or your crayons. And I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint or your crayons. Maybe. There we go. All right, and I have some red paint on my brush, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to take some brown paint and I'm just going to make a little stem. And then I'm just going to take some green paint and make a little leaf. Look there. There's an apple. And you could do this just the same with your stems and your leaf with crayons, if you want to. And if you have a big sheet of paper, hi Jocelyn, how are you? Are you enjoying the craft? So if you have a big sheet of paper, like I've got this roll of paper, if you wanted to do apple stamps all over, you could actually make wrapping paper out of this to wrap some presents, maybe for a birthday or at Christmas time. So that's our 2 crafts for today. I hope you enjoyed our Apple program and come back next week to have another great Storytime Live and another great craft. See you soon.